The United States government has already sent out, and is continuing to send out, stimulus checks, otherwise known as economic impact payments. These payments are intended to help millions of Americans amid the coronavirus pandemic. This video attempts to help you understand this payment, when it will arrive, and how much you can expect to receive. Economic impact payments are one-time direct payments to individuals from the IRS. They are not taxable, and the government will not reduce your payment if you have an existing tax debt. Most Americans will receive this payment. To be eligible, you must have a valid Social Security number and fall within the income threshold set by Congress. Also, you must not be a dependent of another taxpayer or a non-resident alien. Your adjusted gross income must fall within certain limits, which vary depending on your circumstances. The maximum is $99,000 if you file your tax return as an individual filer with no children, $136,500 for a head of household filer with no children, $198,000 for a married couple filing jointly with no children. Each qualifying child increases the income limits by $10,000. Even those with no income, who are not typically required to file tax returns, are eligible as long as they are not dependents of another taxpayer, they have a valid Social Security number, and they are not non-resident aliens. The more eligible children you can claim as dependents, the higher the income limit for your family, and the larger your payment. An eligible child must be under the age of 17, must live with the parent for more than half of the tax year, and the parent must also have provided at least half of the child's financial support during that tax year. Your filing status, income, and the number of child dependents you have determine the amount you will receive. Individual filers with income of $75,000 or less are eligible for $1,200 plus $500 for each qualifying child. Payments start phasing out for individuals with no children and income of more than $75,000. The payment amount is reduced by $5 for each $100 above the income threshold of $75,000 if there are no qualifying children. Individuals making $99,000 or more will not receive a payment unless they have qualifying children to raise the threshold. Here are some examples. In our first example, an individual filer is slightly above the income threshold to receive the full amount. Therefore, $5 is subtracted from their payment. In example 2, we have an individual filer with the same income as example 1. The difference is that this individual claims one child, so they receive an additional $500. A 22-year-old college student whose parents claim him as a dependent does not qualify for a payment. His parents will receive their payment, but he is too old for them to get the $500 credit for a qualifying child. If you are 17 to 24 years old, check with your parents to determine whether they receive more benefit from claiming you as a dependent on their 2019 tax return, or whether you should not be claimed as a dependent to get your own stimulus check. If you file as head of household with income up to $112,500, you are eligible for the payment of $1,200 plus $500 for each qualifying child. Payments start phasing out for head of household filers with no qualifying children at income of $112,500. If there are no qualifying children, these filers will not receive a payment if they have income of $136,500 or more. If you file jointly as a married couple with an adjusted gross income of up to $150,000, you are eligible for a payment of $2,400 plus $500 for each qualifying child. Payments start phasing out for couples with no children at income of $150,000 and end at income of $198,000. The IRS will determine your income eligibility according to your 2019 tax return. If it is not available, the IRS will look to your 2018 tax return. If you are required to file, and you have not done so for 2018 and/or 2019, you should file a return electronically as soon as possible. The IRS is processing very few paper returns right now due to the coronavirus pandemic. If your income is equal to or less than $69,000, you can use Free File, available at irs.gov/freefile. The fastest way to receive your payment is to provide your bank account information on the return for a direct deposit to your bank account. The IRS began sending payments on April 10th, 2020. If you are eligible for a payment, you should receive your payment as soon as possible but no later than December 31st, 2020. If an eligible taxpayer has not received their payment by December 31st, 2020, they can still claim their payment by filing a 2020 tax return in 2021. You will receive the payment more quickly if the IRS can direct deposit it into your bank account. If you do not have a bank account on file with the IRS, you will receive a check at the address on your most recent tax return. Within 15 days of the payment being made, the IRS will mail a notice to your last known address with information regarding where the payment was sent and when. The IRS has launched a Get My Payment app at irs.gov/getmypayment. It allows taxpayers who did not provide direct deposit banking information on their previously filed 2018 or 2019 tax return to submit their direct deposit information. The app will also allow taxpayers to track the status of their payment. To help protect against potential fraud, the tool does not allow people to change bank account information already on file with the IRS. If your only income is Social Security and you are not normally required to file a tax return, the IRS will use your Form SSA 1099 or RRB 1099 to arrange your payment. You do not need to file a return if you are not otherwise required to. The IRS has now included recipients of SSI, so they do not need to do anything to receive their payment. If someone began receiving Social Security in 2020, they will need to enter their information in the non-filer portal if they did not file in 2018 or 2019. If your only income is VA benefits, the process will be similar to those whose only income is Social Security. The IRS has extended the deadline for certain non-filers to add qualifying children in order to maximize their payment through the non-filer app. This new deadline is May 5th, 2020. The May 5th deadline is for VA and SSI recipients only. The April 22nd deadline has passed for SSA and RRB recipients. If you missed the April 22nd deadline, your payment at this time will be $1,200, and the additional $500 per eligible child will be paid in association with a return filing for the 2020 tax year. You will not be eligible to use the non-filer tool to add eligible children once your $1,200 payment has been issued. If you are not required to file a tax return because of low income but are not on Social Security, you are eligible for a payment as long as you meet the previously mentioned eligibility requirements. If you are not typically required to file returns and want to ensure that your information is received by the IRS in order to process your payment, you may either go to irs.gov/EIP, choose the option for non-filers and enter your basic personal information, or file a $1 tax return electronically and as quickly as possible using Free File at irs.gov/freefile or through the IRS To Go app. Do not use these tools if you are required to file a tax return for 2018 or 2019. If you need help to determine the amount of your stimulus check, the ABA has a tool to calculate the amount. The IRS has not endorsed the ABA Economic Impact Payment Navigator. However, the link is provided for informational purposes. This presentation provides information in a field that is rapidly changing. What is true today might not be true tomorrow. Visit irs.gov/coronavirus for the most up-to-date information. The Tax Clinic at the Yukon School of Law is dedicated to helping low-income taxpayers resolve their tax problems. We stand ready to assist in answering questions you may have about economic impact payments and how to obtain your payment as soon as possible. For more help, visit us at law.yukon.edu/taxhelp.